All right, here we go. We're live. Let's get an audio check in the chat. Can you guys hear me fine? Can you see everything okay? Is this in HD? We're ready to go. Bitcoin ended up pushing all the way up to $15,300. And it's actually very, in my opinion, reminiscent of what happened the first time Bitcoin ended up pumping up to $13,000. I'm going to break this down for you in just a second. Just waiting for those comments to tell me that everything is okay, that we have good audio and different things like that. Phemex saying good, thank you very much. Sorry if I butchered your name there. I'm not good with pronunciations. Everything's okay. Perfect. Here we go. I'm very excited for this because what we have on Bitcoin's chart right now is exactly what we saw already now playing out again. And I am super, super excited by that because the last time what it meant was that Bitcoin ended up pumping from, like what we're looking like, it's not like $13,000 all the way up to 14 and now above to, starting to even get closer to $16,000. We're talking about a couple $1,000s after the last time this happened, which was roughly over here. There's actually two instances, and it depends on when you looked at the chart. So let's play it back from what happened over here. And really, the main thing to keep in mind was that Bitcoin had a little bit of resistance at, like let's say the 12.8 level. You're saying no screen for you? Anyone else able to see the screen? Maybe just refresh. I think it's fine for everybody else. The last time, right, we ended up getting a little bit of resistance at the 12.8 level. And let me trace this back for you and this is purely so I can prove this point to you. Let's go back and look at this level. It did have a little bit of significance to it, right? You can see a little bit of interaction back here in 2019. If we zoom out, we go back to 2018, 2017, we can see a little bit of interaction around this line at the 12.8K level. But still, I was telling you, even while this happened, that I don't think this is significant. Bitcoin at first did manage to rise above this area of resistance, but it wasn't really resistance. It never was resistance as far as I cared. This $13,000 level, everything between $12,000 over here and $14,000, $13,800 about over here, everything between these two orange drawings didn't mean anything to me. There was no statistical, technical significance to any of these levels, in my opinion, and I kept telling you that. So here's what happened. On the first day, we ended up pumping above 12.8 a little bit. Then we got a small retracement down to 12.6, 12.5. Then we pumped really high to 13.2, and then we came right back down. And then for a couple of days, we were just kind of trading sideways. Take a look at this. We just traded sideways. This is the 21st of October, pushing 24th, pushing 25th. We make another attempt higher, pushing forward to the 26th. Now we're at the end of October and bam, breakout. There we go. So this was a situation. And then we even come back down to give ourselves a beautiful kiss of this support level because technical analysis just really is perfect, isn't it? And that was exactly what happened the last time around. We ended up breaking above a level which you can call resistance. Technically it was resistance, right? I think actually an even better place to draw this line would have actually been about 13.1, 13.2. And this is, again, just to prove the point. Let's go back on the daily chart. Let's look at this area. There's a little bit of significance at this level, just a little bit. You really have to look for it. I don't think that it's really there. But if we zoom back into that beautiful 1 hour time frame, we were finding resistance here. And, God bless the people who ended up going short at these levels. It was obviously quite stupid. And they ended up getting really, really screwed out. Because obviously what happened next is pretty much what we're looking at over today and yesterday. We got a really, really nice series of pumps and we ended up going up to $15,000. Let's take a look at this. Here's the pump getting initiated and bam, we're pushing up. So this is what happened the last time. We established resistance at an area which I don't think was resistance. Mark Jackson mountain biking all the way up in Cali. I remember where you're from. Hope you're having a good time there. Reminds me of the GTA 5 trailer because I've never actually seen anyone mountain biking in Cali despite going there so many times. But we established resistance at 13.1 even though there was no resistance, right? This wasn't a level of significance in my opinion, yet yet still Bitcoin struggled at this area. And what I kept saying is that the only levels I'm interested in are 13.8 or 14, they're pretty much the same, and 12k. And I told you that if we rose up from $12,000, I would expect that we go all the way up to that 14k level. And this brief halt, obviously I wanted us to come down and test support, but I did keep saying that it wasn't the likely thing to happen in my opinion, and that we would end up kind of trading higher, and that's exactly what happened. So now, if I stop replaying the chart and we ask ourselves what actually happened, take a look at this. We have this imaginary, invisible resistance level at $15,000. I'm just going to draw a line here, and the reason I'm gonna draw it at 15 right here, the reason I'm drawing this line is, look, I just want to show it to you on the 1 hour. In fact, let's zoom in, let's go to the 5 minute, just so I can make this point abundantly clear. Look, we ended up trading all the way to $15,000, and it's very precise. I mean, on this chart, on the Bitstamp chart, this, Bitcoin ended up getting rejected at $14,999. Okay, so this is no coincidence. This is absolutely to be expected. And then afterwards, we ended up rising a little bit higher. Then we fell back down, got bought back up, fell back down again, bought back up, and now we're trading above the line. But here's the thing. We now have another, what I would consider to be imaginary resistance area. This isn't a real area of resistance as far as I'm concerned, because I went back on the chart, and I did this a long time ago. I did this many times with you guys on this channel, looking back at the chart and really breaking down what is in between this $14,000 level, this 13.8k level, and 20k. What is in between this green line and this orange circle up here? What's in between this level? The answer for me, nothing. Almost literally nothing. There was something small that was in the middle of it, and that's the $17,000 resistance area. But, the other thing, the extension to this, and first of all, let's talk about this a little bit. I mean, there's a little bit of price interaction around here, and the reason that 17k is very important in my opinion is that we had our, what's called a dead cat bounce. Bitcoin, let's take it back to the Bitstamp chart now, because this is getting very confusing. There's too many drawings on the other chart. Bitcoin ended up falling from $20,000 all the way down to $10,000, right? Take a look at this. Bitcoin's at 20k over here. We don't need this line here. And this line can go down to 14. Just to make things a little bit easier for our eyes. So this is the empty gap that I'm looking at basically right now. This is where I think we're going to enter from one side and teleport all the way to the other side. But here we go. I will get to all of your questions as we go along, by the way, so please keep dropping them in the comment section below if you are watching this live. Obviously, all of these live streams become replays, as you will know, but what we have at the moment over here is Bitcoin ended up falling from 20k all the way down to 10, and then it bounced right back up and it set a top at $17,000. So this was the top of what's called a dead cat bounce. It's the final life of a cat, the 9th or 10th life of a cat, where it's bouncing, but it's still dead, and then it drops way lower. And obviously, since this day in January 2018, we haven't seen a price level on Bitcoin so high. So unless you were trading on like a Korean won exchange, and there are lots of exceptions on Korean exchanges, but with the standard Bitcoin spot prices, it's never been this high before. Since this point, and that's why this has some statistical relevance. But then the other extension to this, which I've kept telling you throughout this rally, is that in my opinion, this rally is gonna get easier as time goes on. There are going to be psychological resistance areas. One of the very clear psychological areas of resistance that we encountered today was $15,000. Bitcoin originally got rejected at $14,999. So it's very clear that there are still psychological resistance areas, but that does not mean that they're going to hold, because we had other psychological resistance areas like at $13,000. Let's go back there. This is literally what I spoke about just now, but bam, take a look at this, right? For the 21st of October all the way to 24th, and maybe even beyond, but definitely for the first couple of days when we hit this price area, we were encountering psychological resistance at $13,000. And I'm not downplaying the importance of psychological resistance. Psychological resistance, in my opinion, is very important. It was important over here, and if for some reason you were in a rush to trade the long side, you would have been very disappointed because it actually took Bitcoin from here. It took Bitcoin a period of 2 weeks exactly in order to break out above the key resistance area at 14K. So you would have been very disappointed if there was some time urgency in this case. Fortunately for me, for example, there wasn't, and I'm sitting in a very big, like 220%, something stupid, 240, 60% profit right now. It's crazy, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But this psychological resistance did have a grip on the market. It did hold Bitcoin back when it was trading all the way at $13,000, but the point I'm making here is that it's not very significant. Bitcoin also had no problem breaking this area of resistance. Take a look at this. Bam, we get a wick above 13. Bam, a wick above 13. Bam, bam, and then we even get a full breakout. Then we come back down and test the 13K level now as support. Previous resistance turns into new support. Let me clean this up a little bit and break this down for you in very, very clear terms, because this is a very basic and powerful tenet of technical analysis to understand. It is the main thing that I start teaching when I'm teaching about technical analysis in the Advanced FORFLIES Academy as well, which a lot of our yearly members have been thoroughly enjoying. It's super simple, and it's the main thing that I live by. Obviously, I teach everything else I know, but 99% of the time, this is the only thing I use in my TA. It's what made me that 200% profit on Bitcoin. It's what has put me in my beautiful 18% profit in Ethereum today, and a bunch of different things like that. But here we go. We ended up getting rejected at this level. We were finding some trouble. We couldn't really stick above the line. We did manage to get breakouts for a couple of hours, but then we got sent right back down. But then afterwards, we came back down to test this level as support. So really what this goes to show, first of all, is that support levels and resistance levels, they flip all the time, and this is absolutely beautiful because it makes the chart very predictable. Take a look at this. $14,000 over here, 13.9. We break out, but we can't stay above, so we come right back down. Break up, can't stay above, so we come right back down. What happens when we fully break out? We fully break out, we come back down to test 13.9. Take a look at this wick. This wick goes all the way down to $13,940. We come back down to test this line, and then we carry on higher. So across the board, consistently, Bitcoin has support resistance flips, which is absolutely beautiful because it makes this trend extremely predictable. It makes this trend very predictable and very easy to continue to trade, in my opinion. The point, however, is that this level was not difficult for Bitcoin to overcome. Bitcoin overcame it within a couple of days, and it's the same thing that I see over here, because realistically, what I showed you back then, what I showed you earlier in this live stream just now as well, is that the 13K level for Bitcoin was not really a real area of resistance. The real area, in my opinion, was $14,000, and over here you can see much clearer spaced out rejections, right? These rejections are spaced out. The first one on the 28th of October, the second on the 31st, and the final on the 4th of November, 3rd of November, and then bam, we break out earlier today, very late yesterday. So that's what I'm seeing over there. That's why I don't think that these weird, ghost-like areas of resistance are anything important, because what we are looking at realistically on this chart at the moment is a psychological area of resistance. And where these levels become important, in my opinion, is when they are psychological resistance areas mixed with technical resistance areas, right? So a psychological area of resistance is basically any round number. $13,000, $10,000 all the way back down below this chart. Look at how far we've come. 13,000, 14,000, 15,000 like we encountered today. These are, in my opinion, the key psychological areas that people end up taking interest in. But when they really matter, in my view, is when we have technical resistance kind of lining up with those side by side. And what does that look like? I mean, that looks like 13.9. That looks like, in my view, if we zoom out, 17,000, because this is an area which is a round number and it was the top of the dead cat bounce. So this is where there's going to be a lot of almost trauma. There's going to be a lot of anxiety around the price at this point. And I definitely think that that's why this is an area to keep an eye on. Not only is it a psychological area, it's a round number, it's an easy number to grasp, but also it has some technical backing to it. Not only was it the top of the dead cat bounce before, on the rally upwards, we've got a couple of wicks at this level right during the run-up in 2017. So this price level has had a decent amount of respect throughout history for Bitcoin. But then the other thing to keep in mind is, well, how much have we interacted with this line? We got our cleanest interaction with this line for a period of about 3 days, depending on how you look at this, and a little bit over here and a little bit over here. Let's say there's, let's be generous. Let's say there's 10 days of interaction at this 17K price level. And then, let's compare it to something like 6K right down here. Over here, we've got much more than 10 days. We've got, pushing like a week on its own just over here, then another week here, and so on. There's a lot of price action around these lower price levels than there is around these higher price levels, and that's why I think it gets easier for Bitcoin to break these levels as time goes on. In fact, you can already see that. Let's take a look at this $12,000 level where we do have quite a bit of decent price interaction. I'm actually going to draw a box here because this is quite a large range, but I'm looking at something a little bit like this, and we can see, especially looking at this rally here, that we had troubles breaking this resistance area. We were consolidating inside of it. Later on, we were consolidating below it. Things moved relatively slowly, and actually from the point that we hit this level to the point we broke out, we're looking at a couple of months. Let me measure this. We first hit this area in August, and then we broke out towards the end of October, right? So that's a period of, nearly 3 months. We're pushing 80 days that it took for Bitcoin to break this resistance area. But then when it reached the 14K level, from our first test of the level all the way to breakout point, it was like a week. Let me measure that. It was a week. Yeah, it was 7 days and 10 hours. So whereas previously it took 80 days to break a key resistance area, just now, it took us a week. And this is a very clear example of how the resistance actually, in my opinion, gets weaker as Bitcoin continues to climb higher. There's just less price history, and so there's less reason for people to be bearish. There's less reason for people to expect Bitcoin to drop lower, other than, oh, Bitcoin is too high, so I think it's going to drop lower. I think that's a good reason. I'm not discounting that. I definitely think that's a good reason to expect Bitcoin to start trading a little bit lower, but I don't think that's the only reason. And quite crucially, I don't think it's the strongest reason either. When there really is not a lot of resistance on the chart, I think it does pave a very easy path for Bitcoin to continue trading higher to that next key level at 17. And then again, the good news there, in my opinion, is that this level right here is even weaker than 14K. And it took us a week to break this level. So what might happen at 17K? Does it mean we break it in a day? Does it mean whatever? I don't know. It doesn't, I'm not in the business of predicting these time frames. What I'm more interested in is just trading it. And right there, I think it's super, super clear that we have a situation right now where, we do have a weaker, what I would consider to be a weaker resistance level up here. And then obviously the final one is 19.5, where Bitcoin set its all-time high. 19.5, $20,000. Those are the key areas, in my opinion. Just to prove this point, by the way, let's take a look at this. Bitcoin ended up forming a lot of trading ranges around like these lower price levels, right? And I just want to draw a couple of examples just to kind of prove the point, to show you that Bitcoin really did end up consolidating around these price areas. And as you can see, it gets harder and harder to identify these levels as we trade higher. So take a look at this. Bitcoin, when it was falling down from $20,000, right? Let's assume now that you know the future. You're sitting up here and you know that Bitcoin is heading down to $6,000. Look at how quickly Bitcoin drops from 20 down to $6,000, right? If we take the ruler tool and we measure this by exact days, it takes Bitcoin Bitcoin drops by 70% here, and it takes Bitcoin only 51 days to do that. It takes Bitcoin 51 days from this high to this low, and that is very, very fast, because actually there wasn't much price action on the run up to $20,000. It was just a straight line up. And what that means is that there was no price discovery. I learned this from Crypto Kirby. He's a very good analyst in my opinion. I don't actually listen to him anymore. I don't listen to any analyst, but he is definitely a good one if you're looking to find other people to watch your analysis for. We've been talking for quite a while. But we didn't have any price discovery in this range, and for that reason, Bitcoin was very easily able to drop lower. You know, there wasn't, and let's be realistic now, let's put this in the shoes of actual traders like you and I. You know, as a trader, there was nowhere on this chart that you could identify a support level. Between $5,500 and $20,000, there was nowhere to identify support levels. And that's why the drop happened so quickly. Now we compare it to where there were a lot now you compare it to where there was a lot of price action. You compare it to where there was a lot of support and resistance around these areas. And let's see how long it took Bitcoin to fall from this low down to $3,100. Bam, right there. It took Bitcoin 320 days. It took Bitcoin 320 days to drop by 50%. Previously, it took 50 days to drop by 70%. And from this point, because there was so much price action, it happened way slower, and still the move wasn't as extreme. And this is the point I want to drill home. When we're trading at these lower price areas on Bitcoin's chart, there is not much when we're trading at these lower areas, there is a lot of price action here. That's why things tend to move slower. But when we start breaking above areas like this red box right here, there's not much price history anymore. And that, in my opinion, makes it very easy for Bitcoin to rise higher. And obviously, my trading performance since that point has shown that, because one of the first things that I wanted to do, and I planned this, I told VIP members about this a long time ago. I'm talking about when Bitcoin was trading around over here, I already outlined my plans for what I would do if Bitcoin managed to climb above this red box right here. I already outlined my plans while Bitcoin was here for what I would do if this happened. And what I did at that point was actually enter a long position on Bitcoin at $12,100. The reason I entered it at this point instead of, for example, over here is because when the price was still here, I still didn't know what would happen. Obviously, I don't have a crystal ball, but what I strongly suspected was that if Bitcoin is able to rise above this red box, if Bitcoin is able to break out above this red box, I basically guessed, I hypothesized, whatever, that Bitcoin would be able to rise very, very quickly all the way up to $14,000. So that's why I opened a long position at this level with Bitcoin. And I've pretty much just since that point been riding it higher. $12,104 was my entry level. All the way up to where we are right now is a 24.7% pump, which is fucking amazing as it is. But obviously, I trade this on leverage because I love it, and that turns, I was using 10 times leverage, so that turns this gain from a 24% profit to a 240% profit, because I have effectively multiplied my profit by 10. Obviously, the nature of leverage is you also multiply your losses by 10. So if it went in the wrong direction, I would have lost a lot of money. And that's where it becomes very, very important to A, fully understand the risks, and then B, navigate them in a very safe way. And that's exactly what I aim to do with every single trade that I make. It's worth mentioning that in the UK, if you are watching these videos, that you shouldn't be doing that anymore because of the new government legislation, and UK clients are actually not. UK clients can trade on leverage. It's just that companies are not supposed to offer it to UK people anymore. So obviously, I don't offer leverage products, but I want to, I don't want to run the risk of pissing off the government, even though I hate them. So I'm just saying in these videos, in these live streams, that UK viewers shouldn't do it. And that's because your government thinks that they know better for you than you do, and and that also you shouldn't watch this channel as a result. But there we go. That's why I entered my trade on Bitcoin, and I have been running it up really, really nicely since that point. It's all about being prepared for these markets. You know, a lot of people in VIP, you know, including myself, obviously, have been prepared for these markets over the past few weeks. And it's me asking you, how did you sleep last night? Because if you did take that preparation, you would have slept very well, because you'd be positioned to slay these markets. Just like how I was already sitting in more than a 200% gain in my Bitcoin position and 18% profit that I made on Ethereum just the very same day. You know, it's all about planning these moves and then being able to sleep easy, being able to, you know, just stay relaxed as a trader. That's always my approach. That's what I aim to show VIP members on a very regular basis. And to celebrate the huge price explosion on Bitcoin, these compounded gains, these huge, huge profits, I've shown you all the gains that I've made over the past weeks and months, and also told you about the losses that I made as well. There weren't many, and they were quite small, but I am going to be temporarily restarting our 50% discount on VIP. It's obviously the biggest discount that we've ever run, so there you go. It's ready for your taking right now. Temporarily reopen. My assistant is here and he is responding to messages, so go ahead and reach out by following the first link in the description down below, then click on the @FORFLIES button and then click on send message to ask me how to join VIP. It has been a very powerful position to be in for a lot of VIP members lately. This message, I don't think this was recent, but this member here making a beautiful 50% profit, ended up actually closing it out at 60%, but the best part was that it was his first trade ever. This was this VIP member's first trade ever. It was the first time this VIP member ever traded, and he made a 60% gain, dropping bombs on the space, and then I had to tell him not to let the euphoria cloud his judgment. That's just one example of a very, very happy VIP member. Another member here making 58% profit really quickly, halfway to paying off the fee within the first day of being in VIP. Another member here, honestly, I just don't know why anyone would not join this VIP group. I've been in Elders and I outperform them by far. It's worth noting that I don't really think that this VIP is kind of competing with any other group. It's quite a different experience. If you want to find out why, then you can definitely you can reach out to ask me about it, and we've got members of our team who can jump onto calls with you anyway. And then another beautiful example of someone trading for the first time, making over 300% profit, taking profits at 10k as well. This message was definitely from a while back, but nonetheless doing very, very well. Super exciting results from a lot of our members. And if you want to find out exactly what's on offer, or you want to see what's going on with this 50% discount that we've reopened because of this price explosion, then all of the details are right here, waiting for you to find out exactly what's going on. These people have been positioned to profit in these markets. These people have been positioned to absolutely slay these markets, and that's why they're sleeping like a baby. There we go. Super important stuff right there. Right now, what are we looking at? Here's where I am I'm going to make you continue to smile. I think right now with Bitcoin, I'm going to zoom in even more just to make it easy, but I mean, the overall point is the same. I think Bitcoin is probably going to find some support around this kind of area. We've already done that. I think a very, very good thing that we already did is we ended up falling down to 14.6k after testing 15.3. So I mean, this is a big move, by the way. This is like $700 that Bitcoin dumped by in a day. You know, I mean, that might not seem like a lot in the past, but this is definitely a big deal in my opinion. And we ended up coming down to test this area. I mean, this area wasn't really resistance, so I don't think that it was support. But I do definitely think that in this case, Bitcoin has done quite well by already coming down to this price level and then you know, coming back up to form what is now, in my view, a bull flag. So take a look at this, and this is very crude. I mean, it's too early to be calling these kind of things at the moment, but I still definitely think it's healthy to explore, because I think this is a very likely pattern that Bitcoin could be forming right now, and that is, you know, some form of a bull flag. It might not be exactly like this because this is a very short time frame bull flag. You know, if I draw this, assuming that I drew this accurately, this means that the breakout point is in literally like 5 hours. So I don't really think that's realistic, but yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's not realistic at all, but I absolutely think that one of the likely explanations here is that we are in some form of a, like a bullish continuation pattern. I don't know what it is. It could just be like a regular kind of bull flag, something that looks a little bit like this, and Bitcoin is going to kind of trade sideways for the next hours, next days. In any case, what I think is going on here is we are establishing a little bit of sideways consolidation before the next pop upwards. Like I said, I don't know when this is going to happen. I don't even know if this is going to happen, but certainly if it is going to happen, I don't know when. But that part doesn't really bother me because I'm already in that position. I'm already looking at making more positions in this market as well, taking up more positions in this market as well. That's always been my take. But right here, we have got a bull flag, which definitely does excite me because in this case, I think that it could mean Bitcoin is going to pop very, very nicely to the upside. That's exactly what we saw over here, something I was outlining for you quite a bit over the past videos, that we were in a bit of a rising wedge, and that while actually this is usually a bearish sign because it shows you that momentum is running out, right? Take a look at this. The price is moving up very, very quickly. Obviously, there's a lot of momentum behind the price over here, and then that momentum starts to weaken, so the price trades a bit slower, but still trading upwards, and then bam, it pops to the upside anyway. This last part is usually not what's supposed to happen, but as I keep saying, this is something that Bitcoin does as a very key characteristic. Usually it does pump out of these patterns, although it should end up dropping lower just per technical classic theory. And actually one of the things that I was talking about across many videos recently was the idea that I wanted Bitcoin to come back down to this level. I did keep saying that it was kind of up in the air, almost like a coin flip. I don't really know which way it would go, whether it would pop up or pop down. I mean, the good part for me is that if it did go higher, I would stand to make more money. I would end up, like I'm already in my long position. I made even more money since Bitcoin traded higher, but ideally, I would have liked to see Bitcoin come down to this level and test it and find a little bit of support here. It would have allowed me to take up a long position, or I mean, I'm already in a long position, but to expand on my long position, for example, around this level. So I really wanted Bitcoin to come down. I kept saying that I thought it would, but that also, I mean, like the standard thing that Bitcoin does in these kind of patterns is it usually does pump higher, and that's why I definitely didn't rule it out. I didn't rule out the possibility of Bitcoin doing this in this market. But right now, what we've got, I think, is a similar thing. And really, I mean, all this is really is the direction of the trend is upwards. It's super simple. I'm just going to break it down, keep it super simple for you guys. The direction of this trend is unequivocally upwards, and so anything that we do kind of around these kind of points in the price where we just, we slowly trade sideways, we slowly trade higher, I think anything we do, even if we slowly trade lower, it's all just delaying what's going to happen eventually, which is that we'll end up trading even higher. That's what I think is very, very likely, with the same reasoning that I expected at 13K, the same reasoning that I expected when Bitcoin was trading right here. I expected it to pump up to 14K, because this area of resistance, in my opinion, was not a strong area of resistance, and it's the same thing that we're encountering at 15K right now. I don't think that this is a strong area of resistance for Bitcoin, so I do think that it should be able to break these levels very easily. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. The price is trending higher. Anything that it doesn't do, whether it's just trading sideways or trading lower or slowly trading higher, any one of these three things that Bitcoin could possibly do are all still indications, in my view, that Bitcoin is going to trade higher anyway. It's just delaying the moves. That's why we call them continuation patterns, because they are patterns that form while the trend is getting ready to continue trading in its direction, in the direction that the trend is moving. So that's my take on this market right now. That's what I think is going on right now. And the fact that this is $15,000, obviously it's a bit more of a round and exciting number than $13,000. And so, 15,000 could definitely be something that holds Bitcoin up for a little bit longer. I am becoming very unscientific at this point, though, by talking about, well, 15 sounds more round than 13. So I don't think that, I mean, it's all up in the air at this point as far as time frames. I don't, like I said, I don't really care. I don't really think it matters. one of the things that's helping Bitcoin is it has just been held back a little bit for, like I showed you, a period of a week. And so, usually when you finally break out after, if we measure this whole time frame as one consolidation period, this lasted 14 days. And so, if we are looking at something along these lines, then it has been 14 days since Bitcoin has fully and clearly and quickly and aggressively resumed its trend. It's been 14 days since that point, and so that definitely lends itself to Bitcoin rising higher quickly. And that's all just in my opinion, and the reason I'm saying that is if we switch it back to another chart now where I haven't drawn, look at this, this is where we broke above my 3% rule line. I don't need to explain that to you, but like if we look at, for example, where Bitcoin was it was held down in this price area, right? So this consolidation, this was very clear sideways consolidation. It lasted for 9 days, 9.5 days. And afterwards, what happened next was very interesting, but very obvious as well if you know what's going on. Bitcoin left an area of low volatility, right? Take a look at this. This is super, super important. Bitcoin left an area of low volatility on the chart. The market wasn't moving. The market was the market wasn't very volatile at all. It left that area of low volatility, and bam, right here it entered an area of high volatility all the way up until this point. And because we just left an area of low volatility, we entered an area of high volatility. And the nature of these areas is that these consolidation patterns we have over here, it lasted 9.5 days. These consolidation patterns that we have are usually quite short. We're on the 1 hour time frame right now, and this is very insignificant. The first one that we had, take a look at this, this lasted 18 hours. The third one that we had, take a look at this, lasted 7 hours, and the second one we had lasted 8 hours. So we are literally looking at 18 hours, 8 hours, 7 hours compared to 9.5 days. Look at this over here. We're looking at 14 days it took us to fully break out of this pattern to now. Well, I don't know what's going to happen next. We can zoom in, we can look at maybe the 15-minute time frame, we can identify continuation patterns here. Look, there's one right here, there's another one here, there's another one here. We can dive in and get very, very nitpicky with this. And in this case, this consolidation pattern lasted 2 hours. Like in this case, it lasted 2 hours 45. Over here it lasted 3 hours. But the point is, we leave an area of low volatility and we enter an area of high volatility. And typically, we will have faster consolidation periods when that happens. So what that means for this is it might not take 4 days like it did the last time when we topped out at 13K to rise higher. It might just take 1 day. I don't know. I really don't. It's too difficult to say. And actually, I think one of the important deciding factors for this will be the outcome of the US election. Clearly, I don't even know who's winning. Apparently it's Biden, but a lot of Trump's key states haven't been counted yet, and they are even doing legal battles for this kind of thing. So it could go in either direction still. But apparently the market likes this. If we look at the S&P 500, which is currently open, this market is trading. The S&P 500 has been doing very well. We ended up finding support off this red box like I was showing you. I actually thought we would end up dipping down, but we ended up finding support here, which I did outline to be a possibility. And now it's trading, it's all the way right up to these all-time highs. It is at the moment set to be in a position where it sets a lower high, a second lower high. But in any case, it is trading very, very close to these all-time highs at the moment. And so the US stock markets, the US indices definitely like this news, right? The traders across the world definitely like the news of whatever this election outcome is. And so if, for example, it's because Biden looks more likely to win at the moment, like all he needs to do to win, for example, according to some news agencies, is win Nevada. You probably, by the time you're watching this live stream, if you're not watching it live, you probably know the outcome. But the point is, if people are getting excited about this because of Biden, and then Biden fully gets elected, he's confirmed as the new president-elect, it could turn out to be that this thing ends up moving higher quicker, because if this reaction, if this move is happening in reaction to the election results, where people are excited for Biden being elected, for example, which I definitely wouldn't have expected, but if that is the case, then I think that means if Biden is confirmed as the new president-elect, whatever was already bullish in this market is going to go into overdrive. And so that could mean, I mean, we should get those results by tomorrow. We're looking at Friday tomorrow. That should mean, just going off this analysis, that this thing is going to pop tomorrow. So it's very hard to speculate as far as timeframes go for this, but in any case, I'm definitely excited with this trend. I definitely think that it has a lot of promise to it. Trading sideways, consolidating for a bit, it would make perfect sense. I mean, even if we consolidated for a week, a month, I mean, the point is it doesn't really matter. I am definitely, quite impressed with this trend, and I mean, it would also be nice if we came down to support levels too, but I will cover that a little bit later. Let me move on though to a different chart. I want to talk to you a little bit about Ethereum. Ethereum has been performing really well. It's like a little baby that I'm so proud of. It's done so well. It's a coin that it's a token that I've been trading so much over the past couple of months. As you know, I made that beautiful 180% profit going short on Ethereum at this point, because I knew that if Ethereum did get rejected at this level, I didn't know, but I strongly suspected that if Ethereum did get rejected at this level, that it would probably drop like a stone, and that it would probably drop very low. And that's exactly what happened. Made a beautiful 180% profit. And obviously, like with every trade I make, without any exceptions, I shared the full details of that trade with VIP members before I even entered it. I gave them a lot of notice that I would be entering that trade, a very long time, a lot of notice. I gave VIP members for that trade that I would be entering. And of course, like I said, if you are just tuning into the live stream now to celebrate the huge price explosion on Bitcoin, to help you get into the state where you are prepared for these markets so that you can sleep well because you know that you're positioned to slay these markets. If you want to get to that kind of position like these VIP members have done, this member over here making a 60% profit on his first trade ever after joining VIP. But he didn't trade before joining VIP, like he had never traded before. This is so impressive. Dropping bombs on the space right here. If you want to gain access to all of that information in real time, find out exactly what I'm trading, how I'm doing it, see all of the exclusive VIP content that goes behind that, including our VIP library. You want to pick up our amazing 10 hours plus content with the Advanced Academy, then you can follow these steps right here to find out exactly what's going on. Just find out what's on offer, what the prices are, different things like that. Like I said, we have now temporarily reopened our 50% discount because of this price explosion and to celebrate these compound gains and all that. Very beautiful. Ethereum is something that I'm interested in trading in. I am actually already in a trade in Ethereum, already sitting in a nice profit of something like 18%. So maybe a little bit less than that now. So very happy with it at the moment. And the thing about Ethereum, which I've been saying for a very long time, is that no matter what Ethereum does, I do think that if Bitcoin ends up popping up, I think that Ethereum is going to follow. And Ethereum has a very good reputation for doing this now. Ethereum will usually trade higher slowly with Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin pumps up, Ethereum will usually trade higher slowly. But then when Bitcoin starts trading sideways, or when Bitcoin starts slowly dropping, Ethereum usually at that point explodes upwards as well. And actually, it usually eclipses the gains of Bitcoin. So it usually goes much higher than what Bitcoin was able to do. And that is what I'm looking at right now with Ethereum. Bitcoin has had its big rally, but if Bitcoin now enters consolidation for a couple of days, what might happen to Ethereum? This is the question that I'm asking. This is the idea that I am trading right now on Ethereum. I am currently in a long position with Ethereum. I can already move my stop loss to break even because I've taken some profits at 14% profit. So, I'm happy with it. I think it's going okay, but obviously I'm expecting a lot more from it. And really, what I am targeting for Ethereum is rising up to above the $420 level. Let me show you how that looks on this chart where I have my lines drawn. Let's look at the 4-hour time frame. Bam, right here, I'm focusing your attention now on this green line right here. The last time Ethereum was able to break above this level, it shot up all the way to $440. Now, this might not look very significant to you, but the price gap between these two lines here is 5%, 5.7%. The gap between these two lines is 5.7%, which is massive. The time after that, where we ended up rising above $440, we ended up going all the way as high as $490, which is another 10% up. This is massive. When you put these two together, Ethereum, if it's able to rise above the 420 level and then above the 440 level, Ethereum is going to record a 16% move to the upside, and that is bloody massive. That is a really, really big deal, especially for people like myself, because like I said, I am trading this on leverage. I'm going to keep repeating it. UK people should not do this. They shouldn't even be watching the channel anymore because of the government, but this is something that I personally choose to do, and it's so important for me, because if Ethereum is able to kind of record these kind of gains and trade even higher, for example to $490 or higher than that, I think it could spell very, very big profits for me. My entry was $407, which was something around over here. Again, another example of where I entered this position and told VIP members about it when I did it. I even gave them an update, which actually, if you were in the free FORFLIES Gold channel, you would have received that update as well. I sent that update to you for free at the same time that I sent it to VIP members, warning you that I was looking at taking this position. And then I told VIP members about it. If we manage to rise up to $490, for example, that is a 19% move. I'm trading this on 10 times leverage, so bam, that's another 200% profit in the books. Easily done. Exactly the same thing that I've traded on Bitcoin, I'm now looking to do it again on Ethereum. It's always my take. And it's super simple, as you're seeing over here throughout this entire live stream. Now, shout out to everybody who has been watching this live stream as we've been going along. Shout out to everyone who has been smashing that like button. As you're seeing very, very clearly, in this entire video, I haven't used a single indicator. I haven't thrown on the Ichimoku cloud. I haven't looked at a moving average. I haven't done anything as far as using indicators go, and that's because my trading style is so painfully simple. When you pay to join VIP, you are not going to get access to some crazy voodoo black magic indicator. I don't do anything crazy. I just execute the basics really, really well. And what I'm doing in this case, for example, is I'm simply looking to go long on Bitcoin when it reaches, when it clears key resistance areas like this one right here at $12,000, and then all I want to do is find the same point on Ethereum, which was $400. All I want to do is I want to find the same point on Ethereum, $400. This is all I want to do. I want to find the same point, and then I want to trade it on Ethereum too. So I've already done the hard work. I've already identified the opportunity. I've already traded it on Bitcoin. I'm already reaping the rewards and drinking all that champagne from these profits. And now I just want to do the same thing on Ethereum. It is super, super simple. This analysis is so simple. It almost hurts. It makes so many people feel like idiots because it doesn't need to be complex. And I'm showing you why on a daily basis with these live streams. I outline how I do all of this within my actual trading inside of the VIP group as well. It is super simple, and I tell you all of the details of exactly what I'm doing and why I'm doing it and why I'm positioned in certain ways, how I position myself in certain ways to keep myself as safe as possible while still pulling in as many gains as I possibly can as well. All of that happening inside the VIP group with your beautiful 50% discount for our reopening right there. There you go. It is temporary, so definitely message. Stop the live stream now, message, reach out, and then come back to it. But sticking to the charts over here, this is what I'm looking at. If Bitcoin is able to start trading sideways, I do think Ethereum is going to start making its rise upwards, and as soon as it's able to clear this $420 level, if it does, I think it's going to pop very nicely. The good news is Ethereum right now is actually moving in exactly the same way that it was last time. Let me draw a line for you at $420 and prove this point. Here we go. I'm looking at everything that happens after this vertical line right here. With Ethereum's price action right here, it gets a big pump to the upside and it clears the $420 level, but then it falls right back down. Here we go, something very simple, similar, big pump to the upside. It doesn't clear the 420 area, but it does trade at this area, and then it moves down. Now we're making a second attempt. Over here, we made a second attempt, and the second attempt is where we ended up breaking higher. A more accurate comparison would actually be if I brought your attention to this price area. At $440, Ethereum got a big pump to 440. It couldn't clear the resistance, so it ended up falling back down. And then it made a second attempt, and the second attempt is what was successful. Here we are back at $420. We ended up rising, pumping very quickly to this level, got rejected, so we fell back down, making a second attempt. What's going to happen here? This is the $1 million question. This is the question that's going to make people rich. This is what I'm basically saying I think is going to happen. I think that Bitcoin is, I think Ethereum is going to be able to break this $420 resistance area, because I know from analyzing Bitcoin and Ethereum side by side for literally more than 3 years, which is a very long time in my opinion, for analyzing these two cryptocurrencies for a very long time side by side, I know that Ethereum usually does the same thing as Bitcoin. It just does it a little bit slower. But when it does do it, it does it much more explosively. So that's what I'm expecting with Ethereum. I think if Bitcoin does manage to trade sideways, that Ethereum is going to pop very high, and I think it's going to pop very aggressively. That is essentially what I'm putting money behind right now. Kind of similar to Link, which I will talk about in a moment. But right here on Ethereum, those are my thoughts at the moment. There is a caveat. There is something that's concerning to me, and it's actually the big risk with my trade at the moment. The big risk is that if Bitcoin does end up dipping lower, if it does, even if it crashes, especially if it crashes, if it trades lower, I think Ethereum is going to get absolutely destroyed, because that's another thing that Ethereum does that I've noticed from studying these two cryptocurrencies side by side for many, many years, is when Bitcoin dives down, Ethereum usually gets fucked a lot harder, right? That's a super, super important thing to keep in mind. When Bitcoin usually starts trading downwards, Ethereum will actually typically follow suit, and it will drop a lot harder than Bitcoin did. I think that's super important to keep in mind for me, because if Bitcoin does start to dip, does start to fall down to, for example, $14,000 on a larger time frame, I think it's going to completely destroy Ethereum, and I think it's really going to drop Ethereum very, very low. So this is the big concern that I have, and this is yet another example where you've got to be willing to take on a high amount of risk to benefit from a high amount of reward, because the reward side of this, and this is obviously the thing that gets me very excited, is if we look at Ethereum on a larger time frame, there is no resistance for Ethereum above the high that we set. Actually, above $400, realistically, there is no resistance. We can paint a little bit up here at 480, but especially above $480, there's nothing. There is the $850 level, which is pretty much the same as Bitcoin's 17K level. I've talked to you a lot about that, why that area is significant earlier on in this live stream, so go back and rewind if you're just tuning into this live. But this level, in my opinion, is the same as Bitcoin's 17K level, but even then, even if this is going to be the top of a rally for Ethereum, we're still looking at a plus 107% gain on Ethereum if it's able to rise that high, and using the 10 times leverage that I'm in, that looks like a 1000% profit. So obviously that's too stupid to even entertain the idea of, and that's why I've never spoken about it live or publicly, because I think I just sound crazy talking about it. So I'll let the numbers talk as usual. But the key point that I'm getting across right now that I really want to hit home very, very hard is that if Ethereum is able to break above this resistance area, I don't think there's any more resistance waiting for Ethereum. I think, in fact, that it has a clear path all the way back up to that all-time high at $1,500. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't really care, because I'm trading this on leverage. So even if it just goes up by $40, I'm still going to make a lot of money. That's a 10% move. I'm going to make a 100% profit because I'm multiplying it by 10. And a plus 100% gain means that I've doubled my money. That's how the math works. So it's very, very useful in any case. And that's what I'm looking at for Ethereum. This is the reason I'm so interested in it. I've outlined to you why this position to me is very, very risky, but I've also told you why the reward is so good. And I'm very, very happy and excited by that. Symmetry pointing out that there is a cup and handle on this chart. Very good spot. I didn't even notice that, but right here we have got a cup and handle on this chart. Here's the cup, here's the handle, potentially indicating a big, actually it usually plays out like that, potentially indicating a big rise higher. So hopefully that is the case. Obviously I've got money behind it. That's exactly what I'm anticipating. I think that Ethereum right now has the perfect setup to do it. And again, I mean, with this election that's already been past us now, the volatility has been in the market, things have been absolutely blowing up. I think it makes perfect sense that this is what's going to happen, especially if Bitcoin is able to keep these gains. If, like I said, however, Bitcoin cannot sustain these levels, if Bitcoin does end up dumping very low, I think it's going to spell a lot of trouble for Ethereum. I think Ethereum is going to get really badly screwed, and that's why I have my risk management in place. But it's also why I'm very keen on opening these positions, closing a small profit, and then raising my stop loss, moving my stop loss to break even. And that's just because I want it to be as safe as possible for me as a trader. I mentioned to you that I'm going to cover Link, and here's the analysis I have for you on Link. I was trading the short side. I entered a short position on Link when it was trading over here, and I closed, I can't even remember, I closed a small profit somewhere down here, and then I moved my stop loss to break even, and I was stopped out of that position. I then traded it again, and actually at that point I lost a little bit of money. I think it was like 20% loss. It was a small loss compared to what I made, and obviously this position was a very high risk position, so when I made a small amount of profit, it was very small, because every time I tell VIP members that something is a high risk position, I also tell them something is a high risk position for me, I also tell them that I'm not trading with much money relative to the other trades I make. So I didn't make much money on those Link trades. I also didn't lose much money, which is neither here nor there. Link right now is doing what I expected it to do. Previously I was more keen on Bitcoin dropping lower. I was expecting Bitcoin to drop down, but like I said, I also explained to you why it didn't matter to me, because I'm currently in a long position, so I don't really care. But I was kind of hoping that Bitcoin would drop down, or at the very least just kind of trade sideways for a little bit longer. I definitely did not think that we would pump so high so quickly. Obviously this caught me off guard, although I still profited by it. So that's why I feel completely indifferent to it, and that's how every trader should be if they want to be in a very powerful position as a trader. But right here, Bitcoin shooting up does mean Link is getting a little bit of sunshine as well. There's not much for me to say about this, other than if Link does fall down this level again, if it does fall below this level, more importantly, if Bitcoin does dump massively from here, I think Link is going to get destroyed. I think it's going to get destroyed a lot worse than Ethereum, and so Link is still a cryptocurrency coin that I am intent on shorting. Link is still a coin that I am very keen on taking a short position on, because if Bitcoin does end up dropping lower, even by just a little bit, I think there's a lot of opportunity for me to profit on the blood that this market would see. I think this market would get pummeled if that happens, and we have a very clear example of why just today. We have a lot of evidence for that. We've seen that evidence with this drop that Link saw just over the past couple of days, but take a look at this. Link against the dollar is up by 5.8% today, whereas Bitcoin is up by 6.5%. This is almost a case of Link is a young 18-year-old hyperactive hormonally young man, and Bitcoin is a 70-year-old who has low energy and isn't really up to the challenge anymore, because they've lived the full life and they've lived a good life, but it's low energy now. It's too big to move quickly, yet Bitcoin is still outperforming Link. This is an example of a very unhealthy 18-year-old, somebody who cannot keep up with a 70-year-old, and that is an indication that this guy is going to get screwed. Using real-life human analogies, obviously my analogies are very bad, but I think the point rings very true. Link right now is small, it's nimble, it has a small market cap, it has a lot more potential, and it has many more reasons to outperform Bitcoin in this market, but it's not. And that, to me, is in itself a sign of weakness. Yes, Link is up by 5.9% today, but it's not performing as well as Bitcoin, and actually because it's a younger, smaller cleaner coin, it should be able to rise a lot faster than Bitcoin. And if it doesn't, that to me is only a sign of weakness. So there you go, super, super important. Really reading between the lines. This is a case of, technical analysis is good, it's amazing, but it's not enough. You need to understand the facts behind the game as well. And that is exactly what I deliver to you within the group while I trade, explaining all of these things to you in real time. So that's what's super, super interesting to me within this market. I got a good question from a viewer. Wouldn't people be cautious and sell at $17,000, $18,000? I've lost your question. Or just shoot past the 20K mark? Good question. Obviously, I think people are going to get nervous at the 17K level, the same way that they got nervous at the 13.8K level. There is going to be a little bit of anxiety. There is going to be a little bit of disbelief. There are going to be people who want to sell their Bitcoins at this price level. I think that's normal, and that's definitely to be expected. But the point is, it's usually short-lived. What we saw at the $14,000 level right here was that there were people who wanted to sell off their Bitcoins. There were people who wanted to offload their holdings when Bitcoin was trading at this point. So there were people who were nervous and, to use your words, cautious, and they wanted to sell at $14,000, but that didn't stop the trend. And so that's why I don't really care. Bitcoin can go up to 17K, and it can get rejected and it can trade lower, but this to me would all be temporary. And the reason I'm so confident about that is because Bitcoin has now cleared the strong areas of resistance. The strong areas of resistance in this case are, for example, the 12K level, the 10K level. These are areas where Bitcoin, and take note by the way, these areas are progressively less problematic for Bitcoin. Bitcoin took 90 days to clear this area of resistance, and then over here Bitcoin took 80 days. Was it? It wasn't 80 days. No, it was about 30 days, wasn't it? Let me measure this. 40 days, my bad. Bitcoin took 40 days to clear this area. Well, actually, it didn't clear it. It ended up falling, but it took 40 days to leave this area of resistance, and previously, it took Bitcoin 80 days. So it's very clear that this trend is getting faster. The consolidation periods are getting shorter. The trend is moving faster. And so even if people do sell off at 17K, I'm not even worried about it because we've done what's difficult. This is the point I've been drilling so hard over the past weeks and months with this analysis, is that even if Bitcoin does drop lower, nothing is concerning to me at this point anymore because Bitcoin has already done the hard stuff. Bitcoin has already overcome the big challenges in my view. The only challenges overhead now are psychological and actually fundamental, because it now comes down to fundamental analysis for as to where you think Bitcoin might top out. Do you think it becomes an ideological question now? It's not a technical question anymore. It's an ideological question now. Do you think that it is healthy and okay for Bitcoin to be trading at $15,000 or $17,000 or $20,000? Do you think that it is healthy? Do you think that it is okay? Obviously, the last time Bitcoin was trading at 20K, the real institutional traders, they came right in, CBOE, CME traders, institutions came into this market with futures trading, so they were able to take up short positions on this market, and they betted that the market would go down. Obviously, back here, it wasn't meant to be. But what do you think this time around? That is not a question that I can answer for you. I have my own opinions on that, and I do share them with you, and I don't even want to go into it in this live stream. I don't really care. I'm more interested in trading these patterns that happen in between, because that means there's a lot more opportunity for somebody like myself to make profits on these markets. And so those are the only things that I'm interested in with this market. Yes, people will, in my opinion, probably get cautious and anxious and start selling off at the 17K level, between 17 and 18K, but that means absolutely nothing to me because I wasn't intimidated when it happened at 14K. I'm not intimidated when it's happening now at 15K. I wasn't intimidated when it happened at 13K because the truth is, ladies and gentlemen, we've done the hard part already. We've already overcame the hard areas on this chart, and at this point now, it's not even a technical discussion anymore. It's much more so a fundamental and ideological discussion, and I don't even take part in those discussions because that's slow money, that's boring money. I'm not interested in being an investor. I still have a pair of balls. I'm still a young man. I'm not interested in doing all the boring stuff. I want to make this money quick. I want to exercise my good risk management. I want to play this quick. I want to play it safe. I want to be making these 200% gains. I want to be making this beautiful, quick, easy 18% gain on Ethereum. I want to ride it up all the way to 1000% profit. I sound crazy as hell when I say this, but this is realistically my target with this trade, and it has been my target with every long position that I've taken with Ethereum since August of this year. This is the only level I'm interested in for Ethereum. That is where I stand to make very, very fast money in these markets in a very safe, controlled way. That's what I'm here to ride, and that's what I'm here to do. Let's go back to your questions right here. Need a drink of water. JP Sat asking, don't you think, just like Ethereum, Link has a delayed reaction? I was saying throughout this live stream in many weeks that when Bitcoin pops up, Ethereum usually follows later. And JP is asking, don't you think that Link will have a delayed reaction as well? Very, very possible. Absolutely, yes. I'm not interested in trading the upside for Link because I think that... again, when you start clearing these areas, so for example, for Link, the level which is like 17 is either $18 here or $12, $13 here. So again, in any of these cases, it does become more of an ideological, more of a fundamental discussion. And I'm not a fundamental analyst. I don't analyze that slow, boring stuff. I'm more interested in the technicals, as you will know very well by now. And so I don't actually have a lot of domain here, and so trading this on the upside would be the same as, in my opinion, trading Ethereum on the upside or trading Bitcoin on the upside. So I would much rather trade the other coins that I know better than trading something like Link, which is, in my view, still just a shit coin. So I'm not really interested in that. I am, however, interested in trading the short side because I think it's very lucrative, and it's not... This is where it's so nuanced, right? This is where it's so useful to be in a group like the VIP group because I explain these things to you very regularly. It's not, if we trade lower, a discussion of ideologies or a discussion of fundamentals. If we trade lower, it's a discussion of psychology and a discussion of technicals. If we trade higher, now it's all about the tech. It is about psychology, very much about psychology as well, but it's more so about the tech and ideologies and stuff like that. This is the stuff I don't understand. This is the stuff I don't care about. Trading lower, psychology, technicals, all that good stuff, that's where I excel. So what you're going to notice is that if Bitcoin does, and maybe it's still too early to talk about. I mean, we're only $5,000 away from 20, but it's still too early in my opinion. But if we do start trading up above $20,000, my analysis style is going to change. I'm going to go quiet quite a bit. I'm still going to be trading regularly, but there's not going to be much technical data that I can look at if Bitcoin does rise above 20K. Now, at that point, I'm going to start talking about things like moving averages. I'm going to start talking about things like exponential moving averages, Ichimoku clouds, Fibonacci retracements. The analysis style is going to change a little bit because there's no technical data that I would be able to use from the past. So the analysis does change. It's genuinely going to be difficult to adjust to that. But that's why, I've had the training I've had. I've watched the courses. I mean, I've bought trading courses in the past as well. I sell these things, but I sell them and I produce them because I know they work so well. And actually, by the way, on that note, I'm working on something which you guys are going to love. Hopefully going to be finished with it by the end of this year. I'm not going to tell you more details, but just know that something very, very cool is on the way. Almost all of you are gonna really enjoy it. I'm 100% sure of that. But yeah, that's definitely something that I'm interested in. But even and the other thing is, it's been a long time since Bitcoin was setting all-time highs. The last time Bitcoin was setting all-time highs, I was a bloody idiot. I was still in high school, so life has definitely. I'm sure there are many people who had very drastically different life circumstances going back 3 years, so I'm not the only one who had a very different life back then. But I've obviously taken up training and done reading on what to do if Bitcoin does go above 20K. I actually think it's going to get easier to trade. There's going to be the initial adjustment period where it's difficult to trade because it is a different way to do analysis at that point. But once you've been able to I'm not really worried about it at all. That's my take on why, I mean, absolutely why I think that link could follow, but why I'm not interested. What else have we got? The fib retracement from 2,800 to 20,000. That fib is pretty well respected over the last few years. Good idea, Harris. Was it Harris? Yeah, Harris. Harris wants me to look at the Fibonacci retracement on Bitcoin stretching all the way down from $2,800. Is this the Fibonacci tool? Yeah, it is. $2,800, which was here. This is a very weird place to draw Fibonacci from, by the way. I was actually wondering why you chose this, but let me check it out anyway. I think this looks roughly right. And stretch it all the way up to 20k. And what have we got? Oh, okay. Yeah, this is pretty well respected. There we go. The first two lines that I'm looking at with any Fibonacci retracement are always the 618 levels and the 382 levels. These are usually the most significant levels on any Fibonacci retracement, especially for Bitcoin. And that is because they are mirrors of each other, and they are magical numbers that keep showing up everywhere in life and nature. Again, it's another example of how technical analysis works really well, and anyone who says otherwise is just bad at analysis. But there is so much evidence to show you that this stuff works, not least the bank accounts of many traders across the world as well. But 618 level right here, $9,300, was obviously a very important level. You can see a lot of price interaction along this line, some key reversals happening at this point. Look at this, another key reversal right at this point if we don't include this wick. There is a lot that happens at the 618 level, and equally for the 382 level, because this level is very close to that crucial 13.8 support area. There was a little bit of price interaction over here back in 2017, 2018. This was very close to where we topped out in the middle of last year, and also very close to where we topped out very recently. So this was a level with a lot of significance. This actually places a little bit of resistance at the $16,000 level, which is neither here nor there. I think it's a beautiful coincidence that this lines up with yet another psychological area of resistance. This is a round number, and for that reason alone, I think that Bitcoin might find a little bit of trouble there, but probably not much. So this Fibonacci level does definitely look interesting too. 786 level right here, 6,400 has been a very significant area for a very long time. Look at this. This called a big reversal. This was definitely an important Fibonacci, and one of the thank you for pointing this out to me, Harris, and one of the big takes that I want to highlight to you today is on this chart, like on any chart with Bitcoin especially, when you manage to break above the 382 level from below, when you manage to break above it, it's usually a very big and bullish sign, right? And that's just because it's a key area, it's a key area of resistance, it's a key area of support, and so if we do manage to go past that line, I would expect that we go very far past that line. Take a look at the 618 level. For example, when we dropped below this line, we dropped very low below this line. Below this line, we ended up falling by another $3,000 or 37% when we dropped below this line. Similar, when we rose above this line, we ended up going up by another 20%. In this case, when we managed to rise above this line with our most recent very healthy, well, it's not a very healthy bull run, but comparatively it's probably the healthiest bull run Bitcoin has ever had, apart from like 2015, 2016. When we managed to rise above this line again, we've already done 62%. We've already climbed by 62% from this level. And so this line, the 382 line, being a mirror and still a very important level on any Fibonacci retracement, especially for Bitcoin, in my opinion, I think it is definitely forecasting for Bitcoin to rise very high. This is basically saying, like, Bitcoin has completed a boss fight. It's completed a really big level, and that is definitely significant in this market to me. If Bitcoin is able to rise above such a significant level, then that's telling me it has the strength to beat out all these smaller levels in between. That is a very important takeaway, in my opinion. Super important to keep in mind, and that's how I feel about this Fibonacci. So So definitely good to take a look at this. I think it just further confirms my ideas that Bitcoin right now does have clear skies to rise higher. And just to take I've just noticed, by the way, it's been an hour and 12 minutes, and I haven't actually taken a single moment to appreciate the fact that Bitcoin is at $15,000. And the last time Bitcoin was trading at this level was right here, the 5th of January, 2018. We are literally going back 22 months. It was 22 months ago that Bitcoin was last trading at this price level, and that is very impressive. So Bitcoin is doing very, very well. And this is a very high price level for Bitcoin. Obviously, a lot of people making a lot of money, not least the members in VIP, the new people who were scared, but making their first ever trade, closing really, really big profits. This member over here making the quickest 58% profit he had ever made, halfway towards paying off the fee within his first full day inside the VIP group. A new trader making his first trade ever, and currently at the time of this screenshot, making over a 300% profit. Membership paid off within the first trade that he made inside the VIP group, paying off the fee within less than a week. Absolutely killer, really, really, really good results. And like I said, to celebrate all of this, we are temporarily reopening that massive 50% discount on VIP. And if you want to gain access to it, if you want to find out what the offer is, find out what the pricing is, what the benefits available to you are, then you can follow what's going on with all of that right here by following these steps on screen. Click on the first link in the description down below, click on the @FORFLIES button, and then click on send message to ask me how to join VIP. And like I said, we do have a team who can even call you, including myself, if you want to find out a little bit more information about what's going on VIP, especially if you're interested in, for example, our yearly plan, which has completely free access to my advanced FORFLIES Academy, which is a very, very comprehensive course, in my opinion, literally designed to tell you to upload everything in my brain up into the cloud and let you download it into yours. I'm literally teaching you everything I know from start to finish with regards to trading. Super, super excited by it. It's been amazing for so many people within the VIP group, and I'd love for you to go through it as well. I mean, the results we see with people who go through this course in conjunction with a VIP membership, those results are just absolutely amazing. Really, really cool stuff there. Actually, one person correcting me here, Randall McMurphy. It's 34 months since we were trading here. My bad, not 22 months, 34 months. I mean, to be fair, I've been live streaming for 75 minutes, literally non-stop talking. So that's not easy to do for anybody. But let me actually put this in the calculator. 1039 divided by 30 days in a month. And yeah, we are looking at 34.6 months. So absolutely very good point. Thank you for correcting me there. It's been 34 months, and that actually just proves the point even better, that this is pretty damn spectacular. It's been a very long time since Bitcoin was able to trade at these levels, and I'm definitely very, very happy with that. There we go. Now, let's finally move on to some regular analysis, looking at the indicators. There's not much to update you on over here. I want to look at the daily chart just really quickly, but there's not much going on because this daily chart has been quickly rising to provide us support all the way down at the $13,000 level, which is absolutely amazing in my opinion. But the bad news is that because we've been rising so quickly, this Ichimoku cloud right now is very thin. It was thin back here and it continues to be thin. If we look at timeframes like the 4-hour time frame, it's a little bit better. Previously, it was very thin over here. Right now, it is forecasting that if we end up falling down to a level like 13.3 all the way up to 14.2, we should be able to find a nice area of resistance for Bitcoin and then kind of plop our way even higher, which I am very, very excited for. The 1-hour time frame showing us even closer resistance at the 14.4 level, 14.5 level, but this Ichimoku cloud means nothing to me because it's way too thin to carry any significance in my opinion. But right there, 4-hour time frame showing us nice support just below, and I think this lines up very well. Obviously, if we end up coming down to these levels, I do think we're going to find support and bounce off very, very easily. So I'm not even worried about what would happen in this case. I'm still in my profit. I'm still very, very happy with it. There is absolutely nothing that I could wish for happening differently in this case. I'm feeling like a shisha session after this. A lot of victory to celebrate right now. Definitely quite happy with it. Another thing that I want to talk about, by the way, which was actually outlined by a friend of mine, and now Mark Jackson Music has pointed out, is there might be a bearish divergence here on the RSI. I don't want to talk too long about this because I say it all the time, but you know how I don't like the RSI. I don't think this is a very reliable indicator at all. And actually, my biggest problem with the RSI is that it's too easy to use. It's too easy to understand. It's too easy to apply in the market. And because of that, people typically overuse it. They don't use it properly. And a big reason that people don't use it properly is they will say the RSI is overbought, therefore Bitcoin must be dropping lower now. But that's just simply not true. In fact, the word overbought is actually very misleading. It shouldn't be overbought. That's not what this shows. The RSI, and it's stupid, the words are really bad for this indicator, and I think that's why people misunderstand this indicator all the time. RSI stands for Relative Strength Index. And that means when the RSI is very high, that the market on this relative scale is very strong. That's all that it's saying. This is saying that relative to the market previously, Bitcoin right now is very strong. That's all it's saying. And so when the RSI is high, that is not a bearish sign in my opinion. That's not a bad thing at all. And actually, again, God forbid anyone watching this live stream, watching this video on repeat, actually used this in their analysis. If you did, then you would be expecting Bitcoin to drop from all the way over here. This, coincidentally, is exactly where I entered my long position. So this is just to show you that if you were looking at the indicator and you were expecting Bitcoin to start trading lower just because the RSI entered overbought territory, you would have been potentially selling your Bitcoins where I was preparing to buy mine. It's just an example of where traders who know which indicators to use, and they use them safely and they use them in very in very healthy ways. It's night and day. It's a night and day difference between the losing traders and the winning traders. The traders who apply very basic analysis to the markets, but they do it wrong, and other traders who just kind of know what to avoid and what's more reliable. I'm not saying that I fall into the second camp, but in this example, it's very clear that I didn't even care at all about what the RSI was showing me, and I actually would have entered where people would expect it to be the worst, most dangerous time to take up a position in the market. But right there I was trading with a 10 times leverage in this market, expecting Bitcoin to trade higher as soon as this leverage went into overbought territory, and that just goes to show how meaningless this is. However, one crucial use case for the RSI, in my opinion, is being able to spot things like bearish divergences. And this is where the RSI is trending lower while the market is trending higher. This is an example of the market continuing to trade higher, but the RSI is showing us that the market is losing strength. Let me say that again. The RSI is going lower. The RSI is setting lower highs and setting lower lows, while the price is setting higher lows and higher highs. Okay, so in simple terms, the RSI is moving down while the price is moving up. And what is the RSI? Once again, the RSI is the relative strength index. The RSI is an index of the strength in this market, and right now it's showing us that the strength is going down while the price is going up, and this is usually a warning sign that the trend is getting weak. It's usually a sign that the trend is losing momentum. There's two reasons that I'm not worried about this right now. The first reason is that it gets very easily upset, and actually these two reasons link to each other very well. The first reason is that it gets very upset very easily. This RSI can actually show you certain things that aren't really real because it shows these signs way too soon. And so actually, I mean, if you ask me, and I mean, realistically, look at this chart right now and just ask yourself, obviously you can't see me face to face, but if I was sitting with you right now, I would tell you to look me in the eye and tell me that you think this chart is weak. And like, honestly, look at me and tell me that you think this chart doesn't have strength in it. I don't think anyone can do that. But the RSI is showing us that the market is losing strength. And this is an example where this indicator is almost, it's too sensitive, it fires too early. And that leads me into the second point, that even though this is a very good and healthy use case, in my opinion, of this momentum indicator, it's a very good use case for this indicator, in my opinion, it fires too early. And because of that, it's an early warning sign. And because of that, it's very unreliable. So I'm not interested in this at the moment. At best, the RSI can only be something to partially supplement my analysis. This is like a supplement of a supplement. This is what I see when I look at the RSI. It's a very low order, low significance indicator, in my opinion, and that's why I'm not worried about it potentially showing an RSI bearish divergence right now. It fires too early. Looking at the chart realistically, I don't think it's losing strength at all, and more importantly, it's usually just an early warning sign. Because it's just a supplemental bit of TA, because it's just something that's peripheral to the rest of my TA, I'm going to put a lot more weight and focus on what's happening with other bits of TA. I'm going to be much more interested in what's happening towards the 17k level. I'm going to be much more interested in even the weak psychological areas of resistance, because I think that they are more important to the market than simply what the RSI says. There you go. Chong asking, how about MACD bearish divergence? I actually stopped using the MACD in 2017 because I didn't think it was reliable, and for that reason, actually, I forgot how to use the MACD. And the reason I stopped using it is because I think it's even worse than the RSI. So, and that's just my personal opinion. Like, it's got, like, if you like the MACD, I'm not telling you to stop using it. That's just my take. That's my opinion, and it shouldn't influence your opinion ever. But that's how I feel about this right now. Somebody mentioned everybody acting like it will never go below 15k ever again. So it'll probably be under 15k quite soon again. And good point. Obviously, there's a lot of euphoria, so there's a very good chance for Bitcoin. There's a lot of reason to expect Bitcoin to start trading lower. But the other thing I want to take your attention to is I think that you could have said things equally about this price range. But the fact of the matter is, Bitcoin kept trading higher during this range, and people were staying excited, but then it still popped to the upside. And this is the thing about Bitcoin. It goes both ways. I completely agree with you. There's a lot of reason to expect Bitcoin to come back down and test support areas, and I've been saying that since we were at this price level. So I'm completely on your side, and I think it would make a lot of sense if Bitcoin did come down and start testing some of these older support areas. Now, they were resistance. If we can confirm it as support on a large time frame, we did it on a small time frame right here. Look at this. We did it on a small time frame right here, but if we can do it on a large time frame, obviously that would be even better. But I still don't know if given how these rallies have moved, if Bitcoin is able to, and this is what it's doing right now, if Bitcoin is able to kind of trade sideways and form some sort of asymmetrical triangle and then break out after a day or after a couple of days, maybe with those Biden results tomorrow, if he ends up winning, I don't know, doesn't really matter to me. But if Bitcoin is able to carry this momentum, and Bitcoin does typically carry momentum very well, it could lend Bitcoin to rising higher. So to make it very, very clear, I'm not ruling out the possibility of Bitcoin dropping lower, but right now, especially considering that we have just come out of an area of comparatively low volatility, I do think that we've now entered an area of high volatility. And so the chances of a short consolidation, just, we could be popping right now. Maybe this is the one that sticks. I don't know. But, just to give you an example, because we've just come out of an area of low volatility, I wouldn't be surprised if this consolidation stopped very quickly and if we ended up trading higher very quickly. It's difficult to say, but again, the nature of these markets, as soon as we start clearing these very significant levels, the nature of these markets is that it does get easier to break higher levels. There is less price history, there is less reason to be bearish other than psychology. And again, don't get me wrong, that's an important reason, that's a big reason, but that's the only reason. It's just psychology at this point. There's nothing technical that should stop Bitcoin from rising higher. And in some ways, ways that makes it easier to trade, in other ways that makes it more difficult to trade. What I know for sure is that there are so many opportunities in between. I'm already in this Bitcoin position. I have been in it for quite a while. I entered an Ethereum position just today, which already saw a beautiful 18% profit. I'm fully anticipating entering more positions over the next couple of days, over the next couple of weeks. It's going to be my absolute pleasure to share it with VIP members. Like I said, we have now temporarily reopened our massive 50% discount because of this explosion in Bitcoin's price. A lot of really very, very happy members who are new to the game also doing very, very well. Obviously, it's worth noting that not everybody who joins VIP makes a lot of money, obviously, and we have a lot more detail on that. When you do reach out, we'll give you our full terms and conditions, and we'll tell you about what's going on. Also, if, like I said, if you want to speak to a member of the team, we have that available for you as well. But for now, I am going to be getting ready to sign off. We're an hour and a half in, and I still haven't taken a break, so that's a lot of talking to be doing non-stop. If you have any final questions, I'm going to take them. This is now the longest live stream I've ever done in my life, so that's a new milestone as well. And Ricardo asking, what about cycles? Are we really going to go to 100k in a year? I don't know, Ricardo. I don't really care. 100k is just traders porn at the moment, as far as I'm concerned. I'm not interested in talking about 100k. I really don't care. I'm gonna trade it up and down on the way up to 100k, on the way down from 100k. I'm not interested at all in whether or not it's going to 100k. That's not my focus. It's too slow or anything like that. Oh, you've left a. I'm sorry. Just got a text. So if you do it, like I said, if you do have any final questions, kind of just drop them here, and I will get to them before I do sign up. Someone wanted to ask me a question which I missed, and now he's texting me. So I want to find out what that question was. Do we have anything else that people were asking? I've covered Link, I've covered Ethereum, I've covered Bitcoin extensively, I've covered the election. Yeah, let's shoot up those likes. Thank you very much, Marius. I appreciate all the love. We're up to 161 likes. Let's get this to 200. Let's go even higher with the viewers watching this outside of the live stream. Just want to take a look at this one question here. The question is, am I wearing pants? Yes, I'm wearing pants, although this person's from South Africa, and I think they call pants trousers because they're crazy. So I don't understand why you would call pants trousers. Trousers are trousers and pants are pants. So, but anyway, pants in the UK means underwear, and I'm proud to inform you that I'm wearing both because I'm in the office. What else have we got? That's my take on ETH. Yeah, I answered all of that. I think I'm getting ready to sign off. It's been a good live stream. Probably going to do another one tomorrow. I don't think there's been any Wi-Fi issues today. We had a lot of connection issues over the past couple of live streams, but they are gone now by the looks of it, so I'm very happy with that. Harris asking, how do I sound different than I look? There is a whole story behind that. I actually used to have a very surprising Indian accent when I was younger. I used to sound like I was Indian. That's because my parents are. So I grew up around a lot of Indian people in London. So I used to sound Indian. And then I was watching a lot of YouTube videos. I raised myself practically on the internet. YouTube has raised me and stuff like that. And that means I listen to a lot of American people for a big portion of my life, and I also literally I used to get teased for my voice. I used to get teased for my voice all the time. So I used to actually pray to God, because I used to be very religious. I used to pray to God to have a better voice. So now I'm swooping all the ladies just by talking into a microphone. And that's purely because God is real and he answered my prayers to give me the sexiest voice known to man. No surprises. But that's why I sound different to how I look, because I prayed for it, strangely enough. What would be the best price to look into selling some Bitcoin before the pullback? Can't answer that, Jasper. I can't give financial advice. I don't even know for myself, because I don't hold Bitcoin for investments. I'm not interested. I only hold a minimal amount of Bitcoin to trade, and that's it. So that's why I'm kind of looking at this. But as far as kind of I have no idea. I know that a lot of people are going to try selling at 17k probably. A lot of people are probably going to try selling at 20k. People are already trying to sell at 15k. I don't see any good areas to sell at the moment, but probably 20k would make sense if we end up going there. Maybe 17. I don't really know. Like I said, it becomes more of a discussion of ideologies at this point, and that does mean kind of shifting the analysis. Do you think that like realistically, look you in the face, and do you think that Bitcoin is going to be able to set a new market cycle and rally above the all-time high? Do you think Bitcoin should do that? Because now it's a question about Now it genuinely is a question about, do you think Bitcoin should be able to do that? And if you think so, then you're not going to be worried about Bitcoin topping out at 17k or topping out at 20k, because you think Bitcoin should have the potential to rise beyond 20. And so it just depends on, do you believe in Bitcoin? If you do, then probably the place to sell Bitcoin will be much higher. And again, I don't know that I don't know the answer to that question, because I don't even hold Bitcoin as investment, because I don't care. I just want to trade it in between. That's the only thing that interests me. I mean, the gains that Bitcoin has made since 12k, just to put this into perspective, Bitcoin has only managed to rise up by like 25%, 26%, and in one trade alone, I've made 10 times that. So I'm really not interested in the investment side of things. It's way too slow. It's just not interesting to me at all. And that is that's definitely my take on this at the moment. Mike saying you have a radio voice. Thank you very much. That's actually the first job I ever wanted. I wanted to be a radio presenter on Capital FM 95.8. I still remember. Jordan Belfort's here for my accent. I'm here for my accent. My God, I listen to these videos. I'm not like I'd like to think I'm not very arrogant. Obviously, I put on a show and I say things like this is the best analysis ever. I mean, obviously, it is the best analysis ever. But I like to think I'm not arrogant. But in the one way that I'm very vain, I always listen to myself on repeat. Other than actual music too. And that's because I also love the voice. Although now my throat hurts because it's been an hour and a half. So gonna have to get ready to get going. Marius saying God is real. Used to pray for a beard as a young man, and now I can't get it to stay short. That's a very good take. I might have to use that too. I want a better beard, definitely. Jasper is asking, how about in the short term? Well, in the short term, like I said, I think we're going to encounter a little bit of resistance. If we manage to get up to 17k, I think we're going to encounter some resistance up here. If we manage to get up to 20k, 19.5, I think we're going to encounter some resistance here. These are the short-term areas of problems that I can see Bitcoin encountering relatively soon. Just got another question here. Look, we've got a question from Ethereum against Bitcoin. I'm not going to look at the ETH BTC chart, and I'm going to pull it up actually because I'm curious, but I haven't looked at this chart for like 3 years, so I'm not going to give you analysis on this because I have no idea. The question was, do I think Ethereum will bounce off the 2.6 level and trade higher? Maybe, because it looks like the final support area, but it looks like the final support area before a big drop, before it drops by like 40%. So maybe, but I'm not confident in that at all. I don't have any faith in that. That's not to say I don't have faith in the chart. It's to say that I don't have faith in my analysis because I don't know about, like, I haven't looked at this chart for 3 years. So I can't really give you any healthy analysis on this chart because I haven't looked at it. Someone asking, is Phemex good and safe to leverage? I mean, I use it, so like if I think it's fine, but I can't even tell you if it's okay. I like it though. I like it. I think it's good. There is a link in the description if you want to get like a deposit bonus. I think it is, if you're interested in that. Like I said, it's one of the exchanges I use. I think that's it for now. Gonna go. It has been an hour and a half. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been a very interesting day in the market. It's time for me to go, time for me to sign off, take a little bit of a break, enjoy some of these profits that I made on Ethereum. One more time, that discount has now reopened. A lot of very, very happy members, people who haven't really been confident in their trading, and have a lot of people who've even, for example, they have been decent traders, but they couldn't hold on to their gains, for example, and different things like that. There's a whole wealth of people who have joined VIP for a lot of different reasons, and a lot of them have done very, very well. So if you just want to find out what's on offer right there, then you can do that now that the stream is over by following these very, very quick steps. It's super easy to do. It's going to take you less than 30 seconds, and most importantly, if you're not already in the free FORFLIES Gold channel, then you are missing out on a lot of very, very useful analysis, because like I said, I even warned VIPs, but also free members in the FORFLIES Gold channel. I warned both groups of people that I was looking to make this Ethereum trade before I made it. So, and I always give warnings before I make any trade, especially when I can, and in 99% of cases I can give warning, and I always do, and I give VIPs even more warning typically. It's just that today, Ethereum was popping off quite quickly, so I wanted to get in at what I thought to be a good entry level. Marius saying 14 more likes till we can get to 200. Let's pump the likes up a little bit more one final time. But with that, I am going to be signing off. Hope you have enjoyed it. Make sure to hit up the likes to get us up to 200, get us above 200, because it is going to be the people watching this on replay after this. Subscribe if you're new to this channel. A lot of amazing content coming your way with all of this price action. Tick the bell so you can gain access to these videos as quickly as possible. And with that, I will see you in the next one. Okay, have a good day. Bye-bye.